Hi everyone, welcome to this After Effects tutorial on joystick and slider. Today I'll show you how to create the rig for this character you can see here and how to set it up so your animation is smooth and flexible. First, you'll need to go on my website to download the file for this tutorial. You'll find all the links in the description. Then you'll need the joystick and sliders plugin that you can find on AE Scripts, and you can download the trial version so you can use this plugin for 2 weeks for free. Then another plugin that I use very often is Animation Composer from Mr. Horse. It's a free plugin that's very powerful, so I highly recommend you guys to look around. Then follow the installation steps from the two plugins, and once it's done, let's jump into After Effects. This is what you should see when you open the tutorial files. This is how I lay out the plugins in my After Effects, and if you do not see them, click on the Window tab to add them in your workspace. The first thing we're gonna do is actually to duplicate our base composition. I'm gonna call it Parenting. And let's select that new composition and close the previous one so we don't accidentally start working on the wrong one. The reason I do that regularly is because rigging can be complicated and confusing sometimes, so it's good to give yourself a way to go back one step when you need. Okay, so this first step is all about parenting and track mattes, so everything behaves properly before we start rigging. Let me show you what I mean. I'll start track matting the pattern to the body. The way we're gonna do this is by selecting the pattern layer, and you see this little snail icon next to the track matte menu. If you do not find the track matte or the parent link menus, check the bottom left of your After Effects to see if these icons are switched on. We're going to select this little snail icon and then drag it to the body. Now you can see that the body has disappeared. This is an automated setting by After Effects, but we do want to keep the body visible on our side, so let's switch it back on. Now this makes that the pattern will only appear where the body is. It's basically like a mask. This can be inverted, only showing where the body is not if you click on this button. But that's not what we want here, I'm just telling you this for reference. Now that we've set up the track matte for the pattern, let's also parent it to the body. To parent the pattern to the body, we're going to do a very similar thing. There's this other snail icon next to parent and link menu. And we're going to select that snail icon and drag it to the body layer as well. Parenting means that if I move the body layer around, the pattern layer will always follow it because it is now the child of the body. Alright, I'll do a Ctrl or Command C to cancel that move. And now let's do the same for all the other layers. So select the shadow and highlight layers. We'll keep the eyes and pupils for a little bit later. The mouth, the hair and the cheeks, and track matte them to the body. Then parent them too. The hair bun has its own highlight. So let's track matte the highlight to the bun. Don't forget to switch back on the bun layer. And then let's parent this to the body as well. Okay, so now that this is all done, let's move on to the eyes. We'll start by creating a null layer. You can do this by going to Layer, New, and click on Null. And a null layer is basically a blank layer. In this case, I use it to reduce the amount of layers to manipulate when I'll need to add keys when I animate later. But you'll see. Let's rename that null layer by pressing Enter. And let's call it Null Pupils. Select the two pupils layers and parent them to the null. Now when I move this null around, the pupils will follow. But you can see that they go over the shapes of the eyes. So let's also add a track matte on them to their individual eye shape layer. let's create a second null that we are going to call null eyes. And we're going to select the null of the pupils and the 2 eyes and parent them to that new null. And parent the null of the eyes to the body. And then last step, let's select the 2 eye layers, eye right and eye left, and then track map them to the body. Now, when I move the eyes around from this null, you can see that eyes shape disappear as we go out of the body shape, which is what we want. However, the pupils are still visible. The problem is, the pupils are already on a track mat with the eye shapes, and if we were to move it to the body shape, then they would appear outside of the eyes, and that's not what we want. So in order to have them being masked to both the eyes and the body, we need to add an effect. So let's go into the Effects panel. If you don't see this panel, you can switch it on by going into Windows here. And then type in the search bar Set Matte and drag the effects on one of the pupils. In this menu here, Set Matte from Layer, select the body. And now when I move the eyes around, it works as we need to. Yay! And we can copy paste this effect to the other pupil. Okay, finally, let's fix the anchor point of the body to be on the bottom center. If you want it to snap, you can press Command or Control at the same time of moving the point, and it will make it snap, which is quite useful. Having the anchor point there will be better for animating later. And now we can just give it a test by moving it and see that everything is following around correctly. That's perfect. Ctrl Z to bring back to where it was. Now is a good time to save your project file if you want to. And then let's duplicate the composition to have another backup. I'll rename this one to Keyframed. Move the previous composition into the backup and then select the new one and close the former one to not work on the wrong one. Now, to have a little bit more space in my layers, I'm gonna hide a few of them. You can select the highlight and shadow, the eye and the pupils, and the highlight of the bun. And then you can click on that little icon there that is called Shy. And then I also like to lock them so I don't accidentally work on them. And then if you go up here and you toggle the Shy button, you'll see that they disappear and they're still in your composition, but you don't see them. Now we are ready for the first rigging stage, which is creating our key poses. If you hover over the Create a Joystick button in the joystick panel, you can find a reminder of the order in which you need to create your extreme keys. And you can see here it is front, right, left, up, and down. Let's make sure that our timeline is at frame 0. And this is where we're going to create our first front keys. Alright, I also actually want to rename the 2 null layers to Control Eyes and Control Pupil, just for clarity. Okay, so now let's select our eye control, mouth, hair, cheeks, patterns, and hairband, and press P on your keyboard to open the position controls. And click on the stopwatch to add a key. Let's unfold the body layer to Content, Group, and Path, and also add a key on the path. Then if you press U in your keyboard, you can fold back up that layers to only show where there's key on properties. Okay, perfect. So now let's move 1 frame ahead, because we are now creating our right key extreme. And then select again the eyes control, mouse, hair, cheeks, and pattern. And then using the arrows on your keyboard, move all these layers to the right. I use the shift key along with my right arrow, so I'm going 10 by 10 pixels. I'm also counting how many times I hit the arrow key, just so I can do the exact same amount on the left side later. On my side, I counted 6. Now let's select the bun and bring it to the other side, and I'm counting up to 6 again because I want it to be even. Maybe I'm gonna move the eyes and the mouth another 10. Yeah, let's do that. Perfect. Now I'm going to select the path of the body, and what I want is to create sort of a leaning impression. And I'm gonna select the 2 points at the top and then shift them to the right a little bit. And I will adjust the handles underneath so the vector shape looks a little bit better. Okay, I'm also just gonna lock and shy away the background layer because we don't need it. Alright, so we have our front pose and our right pose. Let's create the left one now. We can start by copying the front pose and pasting it in the 3rd frame. And from there, we can select again the eye control, the mouth, the hair, the cheeks, and the pattern, and move them to the left. And I'm gonna do it 6 times again while holding shift. And I'm gonna select the mouth and the eyes and give them another 10 pixels to the left like I did on the other side. Then select the bun and move it towards the right. I'll move it 60 pixels to the right, so it's like I did on the other side. I want to see how it looks, so I'm going to select those keys and spread them out just to have kind of a little overview of how it's going to look with the in-betweens. Yeah, that looks good. We have recreated a nice 3D effect, so I'm happy. Perfect, so let's cancel this and continue. We are going to click on the path of the body. With the pen tool, I'm going to select the top points and then shift them a little bit to the left and then use the handles to make the shape smooth. Perfect. Let's create our up pose now. We can do the same. Select all the keys of the front pose and paste them to reset our character. And select the eye controls, the mouth, the hair, the cheeks, and the pattern. And then move them up like 20 pixels. And I'll deselect the pattern now because I don't want it to go as high as the rest. And I'm going to continue going up, maybe another 20 or 30 pixels. And I'll deselect the cheeks now and go another 10 pixels up with the rest. The reason I do this is because when we go up, our ears or cheeks, they actually appear as if they were going down compared to the rest, like the nose or the eyes. And this is gonna act as recreating this nice little 3D effect. And we're gonna do the same with the hair. I'm gonna select the hair and move it down, maybe like 30 pixels. So we really have the feeling that she's lifting her head. The last thing I'm going to do here is select the path of the body, select the top points and move them up. So she's kind of stretching up. Let's see how the transition look. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, cool. Let's continue. So here we go again, moving to the next frame and select the front keys again to paste them there. We select the eyes control, the mouth, the hair, the cheeks and the pattern. And we can move them like 20 frames down. Then we can deselect the patterns again because I don't want them to go too low. And give it another 10 frames down. And then same, deselect the cheeks and move the rest a little bit further down. Then we're going to select the bun and have it go up. So we're recreating that 3D effect again. Perfect. Now we have all our extremes. Let's create the keys on the eye layers so they're going to be able to blink. So I'm going to unshine my layers and unlock the eyes and unfold them until I can add a point on the path. And make sure this is on the first frame, on frame 0. Then I'll move 1 frame ahead. I'll select the Transform Vertex tool, which is in the pen tool if you hold it, and that's that little arrow. And I'm going to come and click on the points to remove the handles and basically have the eye closed. Then let's do the same thing on the other side. For the blink, we are going to use not the joystick, but a slider, because we only have 2 extreme keys. But before we do any of this, now is a good time to save your work. And let's also duplicate our composition and call this one Flora Rigged. And then we can move the previous one to the backup and close it, so we're working on a new one. All right, now we can select our 2 eye keys, then go on the panel and click the slider to create. I'll rename that to Blink. And you can see that now we have a new layer that just popped. And if I click on the slider and I move it around, you can see that it has automatically created all the in-between keys. So I can have my eyes open or close as much as I want, just by moving the slider. Now let's do the same for the body. Let's select all the keys. And if you want to make sure that you have all of them, do Command or Control A to select all your layers, and then press the U key on your keyboard to reveal all the keys. Then select all of them, go to the Joystick tab, and then click on the Create a Joystick button. And then you can rename that to any name you want. I'm gonna call it Flora. And all your keys are gonna disappear again, and instead you're gonna have these 2 new layers, which are the origin and over it the control. But it's in the middle of our composition. So let's select the origin and move it on the top left. I'm also gonna select all my layers again by pressing Ctrl A or Command A and fold them back all up. Perfect. Now this control is white and our background is pretty clear. So I want to change the color so I can see it better. So I'm gonna go into the FX panel again and then type tint, which I'm gonna drag into the FX panel of that control layer. And I'm gonna change it to black so I can see it better. Another thing you can do is actually add a text layer underneath that joystick to name what it is, like body or flora. We only have 1 joystick here, so it doesn't make much sense right now, but if you were to have like 4 or 5, it starts to be a bit confusing, so it's a good habit to take, I think. Cool, so let's try it out and see how it looks. Alright, that's pretty good, but I'm actually not super happy with the way that the cheeks are moving. I feel that they're actually dragging behind, so I want to modify that. We're gonna go back to the joystick panel and then click this button, which is called Unbinds. And this is basically going to reverse the rigging. And I'm back to having my keys there and I can modify them. Cool, I like it better like this. So now I'm gonna select all by clicking Command or Control A, and then U to see all my keys, select them all again. And now I'm gonna click on that other button, which is going to bind back everything together. Sweet, it's working as I want, that looks great. So now I think it's a good time to give it another save and to duplicate the composition again so you have your backup. And you can animate on your new composition. Yay! Congratulations, you made it till the end. You'll find some examples of how I animated this character inside the project file if you're curious. But let me know in the comments if you'd like another tutorial to follow up this one. And I can go into the details of how I would approach this, trying to use the principles of animation like squash and stretch or anticipation or this kind of things. So yeah, I hope you had fun and see you next time.